Today we're finding out if Braids can make Karn good in Standard, or maybe if Karn can make Braids good in Standard. Either way, we're playing Braids and Karn in DMU Standard. Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another edition of Against the Odds. And last week, we had a pretty interesting Standard Against Odds poll. Karn did really well. Braids of Arisen Nightmare technically beat out Karn by a couple percentage points, but as I was working on the decks, I realized that Karn is like the perfect card to make Braids work, and Braids is the perfect card to make Karn work, so we got an Against the Odds 2-for-1. We are playing Karn and Braids together, finding out if maybe Braids can make Karn Living Legacy, a Planeswalker I called one of the worst of all time, into an actual good card in our new Standard format. So let's talk about our deck, jump into some games, and find out, is Karn better than we think? How good is Braids in Standard? That's what we're gonna learn today. So we're built around Karn Living Legacy and Braids Arisen Nightmare. So Karn, it doesn't do a whole lot, but it has a +1 that makes a tap Power Stone token. That Power Stone token, it's pretty useless. It really doesn't do much of anything, but it's an artifact, which means it's very good for sacking to Braids Arisen Nightmare. Braids lets us sack a permanent on our end step. If our opponent doesn't sack a permanent that matches its type, then they get drained for 2, and we get to draw a card. So the idea of our deck is, we get on Braids, we get on Karn. Karn makes a token, we sack it to Braids, we draw a card, we drain our opponent, and then we have extra synergies to take advantage of this. Oni called Anvil, when we sack the Power Stone to Braids, we get a 1/1 construct, which is an artifact. So that's multiple artifacts entering the battlefield each turn, which makes Dragon Spark Reactor into an insane finish in our deck. This 2-mana artifact that when it or an artifact ETBs, it gets a counter, and then we pay for and sack it and deal damage equal to the amount of counters on it to a player and to one creature. So with all of our Power Stones and our tokens from Oni called Anvil, this can get really, really big, to the point where combined with our Braids damage, this can just one-shot someone. And then if we gotta go even bigger, we got a bootlegger stash that we can find with Karn's -1, and that just makes a ridiculous amount of artifact tokens. So tons of fuel for Braids, tons of fuel for Oni called Anvil, tons of counters on Dragon Spark Reactor, easy win with Karn's ultimate if we get there. So that's kind of the core of the deck. We also have a couple other ways to make artifact tokens that just happen to be good cards. Bloodtithe Harvester, Fable the Mirror Breaker, each put artifacts on the battlefield for sacking to Braids, plus Bloodtithe gives us removal, Fable the Mirror Breaker keeps us turning through our deck, and now we got a bunch of removal and card draw that mostly focuses on the theme of our deck, like Volt Surge and Reckoner Bargain can sack artifacts, so they can sack the Power Stone to get value out of them. Meathook Massacre drains our opponent as our creatures from Oni called Anvil are dying. Mana base, pretty typical stuff for Standard. In the sideboard, a bunch more removal, some Pilfers and Bankbusters for control, and that is Karn and Braids together at last in Standard. That's our Against Odds deck for this week, so let's find out. Is Braids the card that can make Karn good, or is Karn the card that can make Braids good? That's what we're gonna find out today. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll be back in a bit for the wrap up. Today's video is brought to you by our awesome sponsor, Card Kingdom. You can get all the Dominaria United cards you need and help support the show over at cardkingdom.com/MTG Goldfish. Against the Odds time, we are trying to figure out if maybe Braids can make Karn into an actual good card in Standard. The double edition this week, Braids and Karn. Let's start with the Proving Ground. This hand is kind of fine. We got our Karn, we got the Oni called Anvil. See what our opponent's up to. Ooh, not black mana yet. That's a rarity in this Standard. Well, let's get down the Anvil. Go. Opponent. I mean, we got everything we want. We got the Karn and the Braids. Tap lane for our opponent. Oh, all right. Well, run out the swamp, and I guess we just play the Braids and hope it lives. We don't really want to sack the Anvil. It gets so much better next turn. Next turn, if we can play the Karn and start sacking the Power Stone, then we get tokens from Anvil. Ooh, Celesis. Okay, that is wonderful news. Our Braids is living. All right, well, untap, land, Karn, combo assembled, Braids and Karn, Braids and Karn. Take up Karn, make a Power Stone, which is normally pretty useless, but with Oni called Anvil and a Braids, we get to sack the Power Stone to Braids. Our opponent, I doubt, is going to sack the Celestis. They don't, so they take 2, we draw a card, and we get a token for Oni called Anvil. I think our challenge is going to be playing around Farewell. If our opponent's playing Jeskai Control, ooh, Impulse. Haven't seen many Impulses. That's like a card that's traditionally so good, but probably digging, they gotta be playing towards a Farewell. That makes the most sense to me. Witness the Future, gonna do some more anticipating. Basically another Impulse. Passes. I don't know what we do with this Besagio. Well, take up Karn. Hit you with the dorks. I don't know if we want to run out more stuff because of Farewell. This would be the Farewell turn. We will play Besagio. I think with 2 Reckoner's Bargains in hand, I think we want to play around Farewell this turn. So let's just Braids. Opponent takes it. Down to 9. Make the token. So if our opponent Farewells, like, it's not the end of the world. It's annoying because we lose our Braids, but we get to basically sack everything. And our opponent loses Celestis, and we still got the Karn. And the Karn's actually, like, getting sneaky close to ultimate. All right, there's a Farewell. Artifacts and creatures, so sack a token. And it doesn't really matter. Sack a token, ping it to 9. Bargain, draw 2. Bargain. Oh, I guess we should have sacked the, all right, whatever. We could have sacked the Anvil to gain more life, but oh my God, that's our bootlegger stash. Okay, we might be able to do the Karn bootlegger stash combo. All right, land. Yeah, I mean, I think we're going for it. Take up Karn. This basically is you have 1 turn to answer the Karn, or we emblem it with bootlegger stash out. And that's so much damage with the emblem. Opponent. Combo number 2. Land. So I got to deal with stash or Karn this turn. Probably Karn number 1, because embleming, they're just going to draw. Oh, game. That's game. We emblem the Karn. With a bootlegger stash of all things. So we get to tap our lands to make treasures. Tap the treasures for damage, and that does it. Wow, that was so good. Oh, all right. Well, I mean, bring in a little discard, and that's about it. All right, so on to game number 2. I don't know if we can possibly top that, because that was like the dream. Braids and Karn, and we even had the bootlegger stash. That is the dream. Well, this hand's fine. I mean, it's not super combo-y, but we can draw some cards, find our Braids, find our Karns. Opponent, tap land. Well, we will tap land. Opponent, Shivan Reef. All right, there's a Karn, that's good. Blood Tithe Harvester. Pretty impressive how good Blood Tithe Harvester has been, like across formats. Opponent. I mean, I guess obviously, maybe we should, wow. The Naked Witness the future, nothing to shuffle in. I mean, I guess shuffling in isn't super big, but draws a card. Terra Sunder could be good eventually. All right, out the Fable. This is a little aggro draw for our deck. Hedge it as Emetine. Opponent. Oh, all right, Teferi. Boy, opponent is anticipate tribal here. Anything that can let them look at the top 3 cards or 4 cards of their library and grab a card. Teferi, Witness of the Future, Impulse. They're not doing anything, but they're churning through their deck. This is a pretty sad Teferi because it just kind of dies. Yeah, let's get rid of this Blood Tithe Harvester. Well, Anvil's not the worst. Well, we're gonna kill Teferi. We're gonna hit our opponent. We're gonna make a treasure. And then probably get down Karn. Again, focusing on things that can survive wraths. They're getting close. They're getting close to the point where they could be farewelling again. Well, take up Karn. Maybe Karn's just like secretly busted. Secretly bad, but busted. Busted in the worst possible way. What do you got about it? Land. What impulse do we have this turn? Ooh, Temporal. That's actually pretty good. All right, well, there goes our Karn and our creatures. I mean, we still got Braids, though. We got Braids, we got the Anvil, we got a Power Stone. Whatever will our opponent do? I mean, Power Stone is good for sacking, though. All right, play the Braids. I think we just probably leave up Bargain again in case they have another sweeper. We could sack the Blood, but I don't think it's worth it. It's probably better just to wait and sack it to Braids. Well, sack the Power Stone. Opponent goes to ooh, card number 2. Card number 2. Opponent goes to 12. Land. Timeless. Oh boy. Oh, this is gonna hurt for our opponent. I think we just tear asunder that, just in case they were thinking about doing anything. Get rid of the Timeless Lotus. Tear asunder has gone way up in value in my mind, because there's actually, with Sagas and Timeless Lotus, I guess, there's actually a lot of stuff that hits unkicked. And then once you kick it, it gets any relevant threat. Well, hit you. I think we're just gonna do the same thing as last game. Actually, you know what? Let's play Karn, whatever. There's some argument to just leaving up the card draw, but we're so close to winning here. Sag the Power Stone. And Karn is good Wrath protection too, because none of the wraths our opponent has would actually kill a Karn. Ooh, Reactor. Okay. I mean, opponent needs something or they are just dead on board here. Even if they sweep, they're still not in that good a shape. Looking at our Braids. March of Otherworldly Light. All right, well, sack the Braids, draw some cards, gain some life. Well, could you imagine this deck if this was last standard and we didn't have to play Reckoner's Bargain and we could make a treasure with our card? It would be so good with all of our artifact synergies. Well, get down the reactor, play the land. Maybe we get a reactor win. Go attacking, hit ya down to 3. Take up Karn, make the Power Stone. Play the reactor, sack the Power Stone. Yeah, I mean, our opponent's just dead to the reactor next turn now. Pass the turn. So opponent's got to deal with, they need farewell. They need a farewell. They got to deal with the reactor and they got to deal with the creatures. And even if they do, there's a card, which is apparently busted. Opponent to very sure, looking a little fair. Anticipate, do it, come on. Go out doing what you love, opponent. Impulsing. Show us that impulse. I mean, they probably actually do have to impulse, right? Or else they just die. All right, opponent's gonna take up to gain life, but this isn't Wandering Emperor. Oh, okay, so we're gonna try to gain enough life to get out of this, but it wouldn't work anyway. We can sack the reflection, but even if they didn't do that, we just sack something to Oni, ping you down, and then reactor, kill you. Dragon Spark reactor? Done, done, done. That first game was so good, but that second one was pretty sweet too. Maybe Karn's a little better than I thought. Sweet, sweet, sweet. Against the odds time, we are trying to figure out if Braids can make Karn good, or Karn can make Braids good. I don't know, can they make each other good? Found it, tap land. Well, play the land, Blood Tithe Harvester. Go. This hand looks fine. We'll see what our opponent's doing with their Scoured Barrens. Tenacious Underdog. Well, play the land. Let's get down the reactor, start getting some counters, and pass the turn. Getting down Karn on a somewhat empty board would be pretty sweet. Opponent. All right, so opponent's Esper. Tenacious Underdog Part 2. If our opponent attacks, yeah, I think we just block the Tenacious Underdog, and then Volt Surge the other Tenacious Underdog. And then untap, empty board, get down Karn. And Karn gets to start making Power Stones and adding counters to the reactor. Could still use a Braids. Land. Are we blitzing Underdog? I mean, blitzing does cost life. Wow, opponent just passes. All right, so, well, take up Karn, make a Power Stone. Play Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Getting down Braids would be nice, but with our opponent leaving their mana up, I think we would rather wait till next turn. Pass the turn. Opponent's got to be leaving up like Void Rend or something, although I don't know why they wouldn't use it earlier. Wandering Emperor, sure, that's fine. That is fine. Opponent Wandering Emperor makes a 2/2. Untaps. Land. I mean, this Karn's gonna be a problem for our opponent eventually. It's one away from ultimating. Opponent, March of Otherworldly Light. Okay. Well, kill that. Bizzle the Wandering Emperor. Sorin. All right, the Planeswalkers keep flowing. Opponent, wow, just gonna tick up. Restoration of Vajano. I mean, if we get to ultimate Karn, I think we win. Now take up Karn, make a Power Stone. Play Braids. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, play the land, pass the turn. Sack the Power Stone, draw even more land. All right, pass the turn. Well, this is it. Can our opponent deal with this Karn through the Dragon Spark reactor? Oh, they have a Fateful Absence. All right, that's a very good one for our opponent. That's a very, very good one. So the answer is yes, they can deal with the Karn, unfortunately. Opponent gonna tick up. Opponent does have to be careful. There is 16. Dragon Spark reactor is up to 5. Invoke Despair. Makes a Samurai. Plays a tap land that gains a life. I mean, opponent's down to 12. Restoration of Vajano. Okay, so draw a card. Sack the blood, discard the land, draw a card. Into more lands and more lands. Well, we flip the Saga. Oni called Anvil. Get a trigger. Play the land. Attack our opponent. They block with the Samurai. Well, sack the Power Stone. Make a dork. Charge up the reactor. Opponent, so I think our opponent has to use, wow, this is gonna be super close. This is super close. Can we win this game? Wow, this is so close. Opponent discards a land, gets it back. I mean, I think we survive. All right, they cash in the Wandering Emperor. Can't actually stop that. They go to 12. Invoke Despair. So ping our opponent. Down to 11. We lose the reflection. Opponent draws some cards. We drop to 17. 7, 8, 9. Makes a lifelinker. I think we might be able to close this out. Plains. Opponent passes. So we draw land, doesn't do anything. So play reactor. Get some triggers. Are we gonna end up one short? I think we're one short. Play the land. Yeah, we're one short. We needed to draw anything to add counters. Trigger, trigger. Opponent goes to 10, but that's not dead. Untaps. Flips. We can hit our opponent to 1, but 1 is not lethal. Attacks. Sure. No blocks. Ticks up. Going greedy. Leaves it on top. Liliana. That actually is kind of an issue, maybe. We discard the land. Opponent discards a land. Looking at the reactors. Without that land, we can only... Okay, oh, Graveyard Trespasser. Okay. So that gains a life, but that shouldn't be enough, right? So opponent goes to 13. So this hits our opponent to 4. And then we get... Okay, yeah, this works. So sack the big one. Hit you to 4. Untap, sack the token, hit ya, and then reactor ya. Through the swords and the Lilianas. That is the Karn power. That was actually pretty impressive. All right, so opponent Esper, go down a couple meat hooks. Go down a couple Inferno Grasps. Go up the Pilfers. Terra Sunders. Riveteer's Charms. Maybe Bank Busters if we can find the room. How do we find the room is a question. Maybe we just gotta go down the Harvesters? Ah, they do something though. Huh. What do we cut? Maybe we go down all the Massacres. All right. One land, no keep. Well, all right, we might be keeping this one lander against our better judgment. Yeah, we'll have to give it a go. 5 is just not enough. All right, that's not a land. Come on, deck. I mean, if we get a land for Blood Tithe Harvester, then we can draw cards. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. Gonna follow up our nice win with some mana screwing. Land. Okay. That is technically a land. We're so far behind, though. All right, get down the reactor. Gets to do some ramping. Yep. And passes. Well, okay. I guess we just keep playing reactors because that's the only thing we can do at the moment. I mean, they could be good eventually. Wandering Emperor. Oh, yeah, this is looking bad. Yeah, our opponent's up at like 6 mana with a bunch of stuff. We are at nothing with nothing. Opponent hits us. Well, land or scoop, I think. Graveyard Trespasser keeps getting worse. All right. Well, can't beat the magic gods. Maybe we should have mulled to 5, but I don't think there's any chance we win if we mull to 5 either. How do we sideboard to keep up with this deck? Maybe we gotta go down the bootlegger stash? Like, this just has so many ways of dealing with it. Probably got to bring back in a couple massacres. Like we saw there, like our opponent does have a lot of creatures. All right, good hand, good hand. Let our synergies actually work. All right, we get to play first. Well, we'll keep this. This is reasonable. The Oni called anvils are sweet. They'll be sweeter once we get Karn down. Just kidding. Gonna take an Oni called anvil. Well, play the land, play the anvil. Pass the turn. Well, yeah, that's unfortunate. Opponent tap land and passes. Well, Blood Tithe Harvester's good. Get down, Blood Tithe Harvester. Play the tap land. Sag the blood. Get a dork. Pass the turn. All right, now we need the Braids. Braids is the next piece of the puzzle. Opponent tap land rack and her Bank Buster. Ooh, we get to get off to a little aggro start here. Play the land. Go to combat. Karn. Tick it up. And I think we actually just sacked the token. Little worried about Meat Hook Massacre. So flooding the board with 1/1s might not be the best option here. Found us down to 14. The bargain's a good draw. The bargain can potentially let us... Okay, well there goes a bargain, I assume. About it. Fateful Absence. All right, so opponent. All the synergies. Well, go to combat. Hit ya. Sack the Power Stone. Draw some cards. Land, play the Braids. Sack the token. I mean, opponent basically needs Meat Hook Massacre right now. Oh, they draw the land, but no Meat Hook? That's good. Untap. So Wandering Emperor's a thing. That's the thing we got to be aware of. So go to combat. I think we don't attack with the Braids. Attack with the other two. If our opponent Wandering Emperors, we can sack whatever they target. Yeah, all right. So sack the Blood Tithe Harvester, draw some cards. Fizzle the life gain. Hit our opponent. Play the land. Play the Karn. Pick up the card. Power Stone. Sag the Power Stone to Braids. Drain ya. Draw a card. Well, backup Braids is fine. All right, pass the turn. Opponent down to 7. This is close. This is close to being the win. Opponent. Soren. I don't think Soren's going to do it, though. Is Soren enough? Is Soren enough? Opponent going to go with the Lifelinker. Going to tick up on the Lifelinker. So opponent's at 7. We can't really attack. Well, sack a token. Hit you to 6. Untap, we draw a land, which isn't great. I'll play the reactor. Take up Karn. Get a Power Stone. Pass. Sack the Power Stone. Sack the token. Sack the reactor. Is that game? Is that game? Did we do it? Got him. Yes! Oh! All right. All right. That's Karn. That's Karn. That's Karn paying off. That is Karn paying off. All right. So maybe if you do enough deck building, maybe Karn's not as bad as it looks. I think that's possible, but it's actually slightly better. You got to do a lot of work. You got to do a lot of work, but in the right deck. It was good there. It was good there. And our reward is Odric's Outrider. Well, sweet. Against the odds time, we are trying to find out if Braids can make Karn good in Standard. Is that the solution to the Karn problem? Hitting a land there is pretty helpful. Run out Oni Cold Anvil. I mean, sand doesn't look doesn't look bad, but we could use a Braids. Opponent, Swamp, and Tenacious Underdog. Imagine that. A deck playing Tenacious Underdog as their 2-drop. Who would have guessed? Who would have guessed? Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Pass the turn. Opponent, more swamps, goes to combat, attacks, no blocks, down to 17, and Graveyard Trespasser. Sure. Opponent passes. Well, discard a Karn, discard a Volt Surge. We do need to hit our lands. All right, play the land. What's the best way of doing this? Karn would be better if we could sweep the board first. I think we... All right, go to combat, get in, make a treasure. Opponent blocks. Meat Hook Massacre, X2. Sweep the board. Get some life. Do we want to cash in the treasure for a token? No, I don't think yet. Opponent, Swamp. And Graveyard Trespasser Part 2. Eats a Karn. And Cult Conscript. All right, so we pass. We flip the Saga. Braids. We pass the turn. Sack the treasure. All right, draw a mountain for next turn. We might not be in bad shape here. We got the Karn to go with the Braids. We'll see if our Braids lives. That would be the best. If Braids lives, we can start doing our sweet, sweet Karn Braid synergies. Opponent combat. Attacks with both. Yeah, I mean, I guess we just let this go. Sure, take it. Cut down on the reflection. Gain a life. I mean, opponent's only got 2 cards left in hand. Reckoner Bankbuster. Sure. Opponent passes. Well, we get to play the Karn. Tick it up, make a Power Stone. Play the land, go to combat, hit ya. Down to 13, Braids, sack the Power Stone. Combo, it's a combo. Oh, we get rid of a Bankbuster and we get a token. Okay, that is lovely. We will take that every time. Opponent, this is it. This is Karn and Braids. This is Karn and Braids. This is the synergy. Tenacious Underdog Blitzed. Sure, that's fine. That's essentially our opponent's entire turn. Everything at Karn. Opponent knows. Opponent knows that Karn's bad news for them. Sure, so I think what we do here is block Tenacious Underdog and then Volt Surge the Trespasser. Sacking the token and discarding a land. Karn lives. The synergies continue. Opponent goes back to underdog. Sure. But that's kind of bad for them because we had the Meat Hook Massacre. Opponent passes. Ooh, another one. Well, Dragon Spark Reactor. Take up Karn for the Power Stone. Go to combat. Attack you. Down to 6. End of turn. Sack the Power Stone. Drain you. Get a counter up to 3. This is it. Opponent. Sheoldred. Does Sheoldred save our opponent here? I'm not even sure that it does. Tenacious Underdog. Can we win upkeep? Yes. So, upkeep, sack the token, get a new token, grow the reactor, reactor your face. Got him! Yes! Okay, we got to see it. That's Karn and Braids together forever, actually being super, super good. Taking down maybe the monster of the format. It can work. When we get them both going and they live, it's actually kind of strong. So opponent's got Sheoldred. How do we customize our removal here to make this work? So opponent's playing mono black. Being able to kill Sheoldred seems important. So let's go down Infernal Grasp. Go up Terrace Under. Do we want the Volt Surge? I kind of like Riveteer's Charm. Bring in Riveteer's Charm. Maybe go down like 1 reactor, 1 bargain. Run it like that. Let's try it like that. So we get ways to kill Sheoldred basically, and ways to exile the graveyard, which could be relevant. Well, that went really well. Let's see if we can follow that up with a win of a match. But that actually felt good. Karn was actually really good there, and Braids was also actually really good there. And then Dragon Spark Reactor for the win, with Sheoldred on the stack. Almost on the stack. You know what I'm saying. All right, that's a lot of lands, but we do have a cycling land and a Fable of the Mirror Breaker. 2 cycling lands. All right, let's stop drawing the land cards. That would be nice. Opponent. Tap. Oh my god, another land. Okay, well, play the Swamp. We really need this Fable of the Mirror Breaker to filter away some lands here. We're gonna be in a sad spot. Graveyard Trespasser. Well, there's Meat Hook Massacre for the future. Fable of the Mia Breaker. Opponent, gonna go attacking. Sure. No blocks. Down to 17. And gonna kill the token, okay. Well, we still get to loot away lands. Loot away a land, loot away a land. Ooh, there's Braids and Karn. So if we play Karn, they get to attack it. But we do get a Power Stone, and it should live. I guess they could blitz an underdog and kill it. That would be annoying. If we play Braids, I guess we can sack the Fable, but they could have Inferno Grasp. Well, let's play Zatora's Proving Ground. Play Oni called Anvil. I think what we want to set up for is, okay, play the Anvil. We can Karn, tick up, sack the Power Stone, make a token. I think that's the plan. And then hopefully the turn after that, we can get the Braids Karn engine going. Opponent combat. I mean, it's also possible if our opponent just runs out a bunch of stuff that we can just Meat Hook Massacre. That's also an option. Wow, opponent's just gonna pass and flip? Okay. Well, we get to flip the Saga. Well, play Sulphurous Springs, play Karn. All right, gonna kill the Reflection. Well, take up Karn, make a Power Stone. Oni called Anvil, sack the Power Stone. Ping ya, make a token, pass the turn. Opponent gets into the Karn. Yeah, I mean, Karn going to 1, I think is fine here. We kind of want to keep the construct for now. No blocks. Down to 1. Opponent passes. Well, take up Karn, make a Power Stone. Play Blood Tithe Harvester. And Braids. This will flip the Glutton back around too. Go to combat, hit you with the token. All right, so opponent's gonna kill the Braids. That is annoying, but we will deal with it. Well, hit you with the token. Sack the Power Stone. Make a token, drain ya. Pass the turn. All right, opponent finds the land. Sorin. All right, gonna make a vampire. Passes. Now what? So we could Meat Hook Massacre. It might just be better to kill the Sorin, but opponent has a flyer. Well, okay, let's Meat Hook Massacre. Sweep the board. Make a token. Take up Karn, make a Power Stone. Pass the turn. Opponent, land. Invoke Despair. This is pretty good for our opponent. Oh, he might as well sack this. Hit you to 13. Lose our Karn. Lose Meat Hook Massacre. But we do have another Karn to replace it. Opponent gonna take up the Sorin. Leaves it on top. Well, let's sack the token. Tear us under the Sorin. Play the land, pass the turn. Opponent might have another Invoke on top. It had to be something expensive if they chose not to put it in hand. Probably another Invoke would be my guess. Yeah, another Invoke. So that's pretty good for our opponent. Draws 2, hits us to 13. Oh my goodness, and a Duress to get rid of the Karn. All right. I don't know if I've ever beat double Invoke Despair, honestly. Another Meat Hook. Well, okay. Sack the blood, discard a Meat Hook, draw a card. Yeah, that was a bummer of a turn. I do like Bargain. That's some card advantage at least. Opponent, land. Sheoldred. Well, we got to do this in response. Draw a couple cards. Oy, a couple of land cards. Drains us. We lose some life. I'll play the land. Meat Hook. X5. Get rid of the Sheoldred. I mean, beating double Invoke Despair would be mind-blowingly impressive. Might be a first. Opponent land. Passing. Beseju. Well, play Dragon Spark Reactor. And I think we pass for now. We don't really want to cash in this reactor for a token yet. Opponent, land. Graveyard Trespasser. Okay, that's an issue. That's a good draw. All right, so we definitely need to draw something here. Opponent. Hits us a bunch. It's a good card. Opponent passes. Well, Fable the Mirror Breaker better than nothing. Run out Fable the Mirror Breaker. Are we sacking the reactor? Probably not. We gotta wait one more turn. This turn's gonna hurt though. This turn's gonna hurt. Opponent combat. Hits us. Drains and drains. Yeah, I think we gotta block, unfortunately. If we get too low, then we lose to another Invoke Despair. So opponent's all the way back up to 15 here. All right, but we get to see some fresh cards, hopefully. Another reactor. Well, discard both lands. Do not need those. Ooh, Riveteer's Charm is good, as is Blood Tithe Harvester. Okay, those are actually like legit good cards. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. All right, so I think we can do everything, right? Red, black. Play this, red, black. Yeah, I think we just play everything. So, colorless red. Dragon Spark Reactor. Get some counters. Red Blood Tithe Harvester. Get some counters. Anvil. Sack the blood token. Get some counters. And pass the turn. This also flips a Glutton, which is nice. So we'll see. We can Riveteers away the Glutton if we have to. Parasitic Grasp, sure. Opponent untaps. I would love to draw 3 with this Riveteer's Charm, but... March of Wretched Sorrow. So if we let this go, we drop to 4. All right, so opponent just gonna gain a ton of life, sure. Yeah, I think we're gonna draw. I think drawing is more important here. So opponent, yeah, hits us down to 5. Well, Riveteer's Charm. Draw 3. Flip the Saga. Dragon Spark Reactor. Get some triggers. Blood Tithe Harvester. Make a blood. Get some triggers. Sack the blood. Get some triggers. Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Pass the turn. And I think we've built up a big enough board that we don't just lose to Invoke Despair at the moment. This Roadside Reliquary has not been doing much for our opponent. Opponent passes, flips. Do we discard? Yeah, I think Bootlegger Slash is gonna be too slow here. All right, we draw on land, which isn't great. Well, let's copy Blood Tithe Harvester. See if our opponent has removal. They do not. Get some triggers. Play Blood Tithe Harvester. Get some triggers. Sack the blood token. Get some triggers. These reactors are doing some work. Go to combat. Attack you. Get some triggers. I mean, I think we just win with these Dragon Spark reactors in 2 turns. Oh yeah, I guess we should have done this differently. All right, yeah, we could have gotten more damage here. Oops. Well, Dragon Spark Reactor, and opponent, done, 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 and that is card, and that is Braids, taking down Mono Black. That's also a testament to Dragon Spark Reactors. We had like 30 damage sitting on the battlefield here, and enough mana that over this turn and next turn, we can cash it all in. So opponent gained a ton of life this game. We beat double Invoke Despair, and it just did not matter. I wonder how good Roadside Reliquary, I really love Roadside Reliquary, although I'm not 100% sure how our opponent's deck is actually supporting it, but that was good. That was real good. Sweet, 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 sweet. Against the odds time, we are seeing if we can make a Karn in Braids work in Standard. So last week's poll, people voted for Braids and Karn. I think Braids won by like 1% or something, but I realized it might be that Braids is the best way to make Karn work, and Karn might be the best way to make Braids work. So we're playing both of them in this sweet Jund deck. Well, let's run out Blood Tithe Harvester. Ouch. Ah, Sulfur Springs. The pain is real. All right, so we got an artifact to sack to Braids next turn. Tenacious Underdog. Opponent, no, their outlook. I mean, if our opponent's gonna be tapped out, we probably just get our Braids value. Yeah, all right. Haunted Ridge, Braids. No attacks because of Liliana. Sack the blood. Oh, even more lands. Okay, well, now we're gonna have to get down this Fable the Mirror Breaker to filter away some of these nearly infinite lands. All right, Soul of Windgrace for our opponent. Gets back a land, sure. How do we deal with the Soul of Windgrace? Gets in with Underdog, no blocks, down to 60. All right, slightly new plan. Play the land, play the Blood Tithe Harvester, make a blood. Since we drew this bargain, I think we want to use that to our advantage. Sack the blood, Volt Surge. Oh, but we don't have an artifact. Ugh, okay. Yeah, that's fine. So maybe well, I don't know what we're gonna do here. Opponent goes to combat. Opponent attacks and attacks. Gets back a land. Gains a life. The Soul of Windgrace is kind of going off. Well, block here. Sack, draw. Gain some life. Opponent hits us to 15. Shigeki. Oh, the grind is on. Oh my god, that's so many lands. Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Yeah, we are really flooding out here at the moment. Play the land. Pass the turn. Yeah, I think we sack Braids. Although now our opponent can sack the Tenacious Underdog if they want to. All right, opponent's gonna sack the Underdog, but we have a second Braids in hand, so getting rid of one seems, we've just drawn, an epic amount of lands here. Truly epic. Opponent has a lot of lands, but that's because they've been putting him into play with Windgrace repeatedly. Gets in with Ringgrace, gets back the fetch land. Sure. Yes, Windgrace is probably gonna win our opponent the game. It's starting to look like this Windgrace is just going all the way. The problem is we haven't drawn Karn. That's the issue. So if we block and block, they're just gonna discard a land to make it indestructible. Yeah, let's take it one more time. I mean, we get to filter away lands here, which is big. Oh geez, Titan of Industry. Well, speaking of big, that is literally big, and now we don't get to filter away land, so we're probably dead. Yeah, this is just kind of unfortunate running that we drew 9 lands out of 16 cards. Yeah. Well, now we have only lands again. Grows a Titan Industry. Well, we untap. We draw land number 10. Yeah, we're just gonna scoop. Cycles of Taurus proving out. Can we get land number 11? We can. All right, well, I mean, sometimes 11 lands are on the top of your deck. I mean, that's magic for you. We're gonna bring in Terra Sunder and Riveteer's Charm. We're gonna go down. Infernal Grasp. What else can we cut? That's the tricky part. We have so many synergy pieces that it's hard to cut much. I guess we can go down like 1 Reactor, maybe 1 Fable the Mirror Breaker and a Volt Surge? Try something like that. The Exile base removal seems helpful against what our opponent's doing. And I mean, the good news is unlikely that we draw that many lands again. That was an epic amount of lands. Although it was kind of cool to see Windgrace go off. You don't see Windgrace that much, but Windgrace was amazing for our opponent that game. We're on the play. Well, we got a Karn this time. That's something. Not the fastest start I've ever seen, but opponent. Riveteer's Outlook. Sure. 2-drop would be good. Well, I guess we got Fable and Mirror Breaker for days. Opponent gets a forest, plays a land, and Teachings of the Kirin. Sure. Well, play a land. Fable of the Mirror Breaker. I mean, this hand, if anything, we got the opposite problem where we don't have lands. Opponent. Squee. Goes attacking. Well, we're gonna take it. This might be a Meat Hook Massacre kind of turn. What are we discarding? Terra Sunder. I think we gotta discard the Karn for now, as painful as that is. Wow. Oh god. This time we do not draw lands. Well, hit our opponent. Yeah, what do we do now that we are not drawing lands? Boy, if we could have mixed our 2 hands together, we'd really be in business. Yeah, I mean, I guess we still just Massacre. It doesn't feel great, though. It would have felt great if we did not have to... spend our treasure, and we drew a land there. Opponent's gonna flip their Saga. plays a land. So they can escape the squee if they want to. Opponent just passes. We do not draw land. Well, flip the Saga. I mean, we gotta draw lands. We have to draw lands. Sacrifice the reflections to Kiki Jiki. Drain ya. Draw. Okay, thankfully, finally, sort of a land. Blood Tithe Harvester, go. Whew. Making it look easy. Opponent untaps. We would like to save this Terrace Hunter to deal with something like a Windgrace or a Titan of Industry, preferably. Opponent's gonna eat the Karn. Well, we're getting to the point where we actually would like the Karn now. Yeah, let's just kill it. Get some triggers. And see what our opponent does. Tap land. Soul Windgrace. Sure. Gets back the fetch land. We do not draw 8 land. Well, okay. Oni called Anvil. Bargain. Sack the blood. Draw some cards. All right, we hit our lands. Hi. Well, this is like the opposite of last game. This game we are struggling every turn to try to hit our lands. Opponent gonna whiff with the start of Cruelty of Grix. Goes to combat. Yes, Windgrace fetch land combos worked out for our opponent. Tear Asunder. Well, I mean, we gotta sack the Anvil, unfortunately. Opponent goes attacking, gets back the fetch land. Well, you gotta assume they're gonna get a Titan of Industry. Maybe we gotta let the Soul of Windgrace live and get rid of this Cruelty of Gix instead. No blocks. Down to 18. Well, there's even more lands. Well, okay, Terrace Under. Get rid of Cruelty of Gix. Play the land. Dragon Spark Reactor. Pass the turn. So we can block and sack. Now, hopefully this keeps our opponent from playing Titan of Industry. No Braids this game, and our 1 Karn in the graveyard. Opponent attacks. Gets back the land. I wonder how many basics this deck is playing. The number's got to be pretty high, I guess. Does it again. I mean, if Soul of Windgrace lives, it's actually a pretty strong ramp engine. We'll block and sack and draw. All right, another Terrace Under something. There's the Titan of Industry. Oh, we did a lot of work to make this not happen, and it happened anyway. Opponent gonna blow up the Dragon Spark Reactor, make a 4/4. Oh, blows up the Meat Hook. Interesting. All right, sure. Plays a land. Opponent passes. We draw another land. Well, play the land. Fable of the Mirror Breaker. And pass the turn. Is opponent finally out of... Oh, God. Yeah, that's real bad for us. Well, okay. Yeah. Now we're back to a handful of useless lands, and we're staring down potential lethal here. Those Terrace Under is pretty good against us, and opponent top decks a removal spell. So I guess we need to top deck Meat Hook Massacre at this point. Opponent looking at the graveyard, thinking about the squee. Yeah, this feels like a tricky matchup. Lots of enchantment hate in our opponent's deck. Squee returns, opponent attacks, gets back the land, sure. I mean, the big issue is we just didn't draw our namesake cards. I know we drew the 1 card that we had to discard during the early Desperate days when when the problem was not having lands. Now we're at the point where our opponent's got an extra land drop every turn of this game since they played this Windgrace, and we've drawn way more lands than them. Well, okay. Meat Hook is our best draw here. This does not stop the squee from just coming back and doing it again, though. But this gives us a bit of hope. We have finally dealt with our opponent's board. Lagamos. Well, now I guess we need to draw another version of Meat Hook Massacre. Opponent gets back the squee. So we've kind of gotten through our opponent's... Well, let's see what we draw. Dragon Spark Reactor. So we can play the reactor, get counters. This isn't good, but it does let us kill the squee. Hopefully our opponent whiffs for once, although they've thinned their deck a ton. All right, that's the opposite of a whiff. And we will scoop it up. That one probably doesn't count. That was bad running. Don't count that against the Karn. Against the odds time, we are trying to find out if Braids can make Karn into a real thing in Standard. Legendary Tribal, that actually is going to slow us down quite a bit. Well, tap land, go. So this has got to be some sort of Joda pile, I assume. But it gets and hits us, passes. Well, play the land. Braids doesn't do anything. Yeah, let's just pass, see what our opponent does. Worst case, if we don't need to kill anything, we can cycle Proving Grounds. Gets and hits us, sure. Down to 16. Shieldred, well, that is good enough to kill. Kill Shieldred. Thalia's so annoying. Yeah, let's just, I guess, Meat Hook Massacre away the Thalia. It's like really slowing us down here. We got a lot of non-creatures. About it. Untaps. Adeline. Now play the land. Actually, let's play the tap land, play the Braids. Sack the Meat Hook Massacre, draw a card. We got another Meat Hook anyway. Opponent plays the land. Kaido Suzuki. Alright, makes a ninja. And Raven Man. And goes attacking. Well, we get to block the token. Drop to 11. Kaido phases out. Well, let's play the land. Dragon Spark Reactor. Play Oni Called Anvil. Play Oni Called Anvil. No attacks. Sack the reactor. Make some tokens. Pass the turn. So opponent really is just like 5-color legends. Goes to combat. Alright. So makes a token. We kill the token. So opponent's just trying to draw with the Kaido. Down to 9. Kaido draws. I mean, we have another Meat Hook Massacre. Ayo. That's a good one. Alright, opponent passes. Volt Surge. Oh, I really hate losing this Braids. How can we do this? Play the land. Yeah, I mean, I guess we have to... Meat Hook Massacre. X4. Sweep the board. Get some triggers. See what AO finds. Dorothea and Raven Man, and then Volt Surge to get rid of the Kaido. Oh, pass the turn. Gonna need some synergy. Gonna need some more synergy. We need another Braids. We need a Karn. About it. All right. More legends. So Dorothea can get in for some damage, but it doesn't really do. Oh my goodness, I got another Adeline. Okay. Yeah, that's gonna be a problem. That Adeline's gonna be a problem. But it gets an Itzas. Gets to make a token. Yeah, this probably is going to lead to us dying. Well, we will block, and then we will sack. Do we sack? Yeah, let's sack. Yeah, I'm not sure how we get out of this now with this Dorothea coming back. I guess another Meat Hook Massacre. But that's not super likely. Alright, we untap. Infernal Grasp, that's not the worst. Alright, well, sack the token, get 2 tokens. Pass the turn. So we can make tokens with Sokenzan and kill whatever they put the Dorothea on. Rada Drobic. How much does this cost? 3? Well, now we probably got to kill that, don't we? Wow, this is bad in a bunch of ways. Maybe our focus is just trying to stay alive for a minute. Okay. Rada Drobic. Get drained. Bona goes to combat. Attacks. Makes a token, gains a life. All right, so we block and sack. Yeah, we're gonna have to draw Meat Hook Massacre. I think that's the only real out. This Rocket Drobic is a concern. Hits us down to 10. I mean, we gotta kill Rocket Drobic. There's not an option. If that lives, we just straight up. But there's no way we beat this board with a Rocket Drobic out. So get rid of the Rocket Drobic for now. But this means the Dorothea comes back. Come on, big drop. Braids. Braids is an interesting draw. I'll play Braids. Interesting, but I'm not sure it's good enough. No attacks. End of turn. Sack the token. Opponent sacks the token. We get a bunch of triggers. But then put this on something, it makes a 4/4? Yeah, that's a big issue. Yeah, I don't know what we do about this Dorothea's Retribution. I mean, I think the hope is stay alive and draw Meat Hook Massacre. Not the spiciest plan, but I think that's gotta be the plan for now. And then go to sideboarding and bring in as much removal as possible. All right, gonna blow up the Meat Hook Massacre. Spectral Adversary. That doesn't seem super helpful. Opponent can't even pay for it. Okay. Well, come on, Meat Hook Massacre. Goes attacking. Goes attacking. Makes a token. Well, we block. And sack. And drain ya. And get drained. Come on, deck. Big draw. Big draw. Karn. Well, play the Karn. Pick up the Karn, make a Power Stone. No attack, sack the Power Stone. Draw Braids, make some tokens. Oh, are we just dead? Okay. I mean, I don't think we're just dead, but we're super close. Oh, maybe with this Pilgrim, we might be. Because we're going to get drained. Yeah, so that undoes our Anvil. Opponent combat attacks. Oh. Okay, makes a 1/1. Gains a life. Makes a 4/4. Gains a life. Well, block the token. Drop to 1. Whenever a creature you control dies. So sack. Stay at 1. The spirit goes away. Sack. Stay at 1. Well, come on, Meat Hook Massacre. Oh, come on now. All right. Yeah, fair enough. Well, that was a pretty good last card for our opponent to have. So, what do we want against every legend in existence? More Meat Hooks, cut downs. I guess Unleash the Infernos. We probably just want all the removal we can possibly fit in the deck. We're going to have to go down the bootlegger stash. It's going to be too slow here. What else can we cut, though? It's so hard because so many of our pieces are, like, combo pieces. I guess we got to trim, like, Dragon Spark Reactor. Maybe a Bargain. Fable the Mirror Breaker. And maybe we want one Unleash the Inferno. All right, trailing that, bring in a bunch of removal and see. Yeah, we just didn't draw enough removal that game. And we had to sweep away our Braids, which was a problem. If we could have kept the Braids around with the Karn, it would have went a lot better. Also, our opponent the turn 2 Thalia was actually really effective there. We have so many non-creature spells that it really slowed us down in the early game. So that was, you know what? We probably never draw land number 2 and lose, but this hand actually is really good if we just draw land for the Blood Tithe Harvester. 1 land, 1 keep. 1 land, 1 keep. I think this is the hand that actually can win if we draw 1 more land. All right, that's 1 more land. Rewarded by the Magic Gods. Well, Blood Tithe Harvester. Because now that we get the 1 land, hopefully that gives us more lands. Thalia would still be annoying. All right, that's a problem. All right, we draw another land, so that's less of a problem. We'll play the land, kill the Thalia, play the Fable of the Mirror Breaker, pass the turn. All right, 2 lands in a row is pretty nice. Opponent, land, Adelaine. More Thalias. Maybe we just keep all these, honestly. Yeah, maybe we can discard a Bargain. Yeah, let's discard 1 Bargain. All right, that's good. So we hit a land, play the land, Blood Tithe Harvester. Into more Blood Tithe Harvesters. And pass the turn. I mean, these Blood Tithe Harvesters are pretty solid removal at the moment. Opponent, Island. Yeah, losing the... Okay, Adelaine, sure. Opponent passes. Well, flip the Saga. Kill the Adelaine. Play the land. Pass the turn. Opponent, swamp. I mean, opponent needs to be able to deal with the reflections of Kiki Jiki here. We get to start copying the Blood Tithe Harvester. And if they do deal with it, then we can draw some cards off it. Kaido. All right, sure. The old Kaido Thalia combo. I mean, I think Kaido's good enough that it's probably fine anyway, but opponent makes a ninja. Yeah, let's sack a blood to draw some cards. We got more blood than we're ever gonna need. All right, sure. Oh, we untap. Oh, and a Braids too. Oh, this is looking really good. Well, Reflections. Reflections, copy Blood Tithe Harvester. Mega Blood. Kill the Thalia. Go attacking, make a treasure. And now we get to play Braids and start sacking. Braids. Stop on our opponent's upkeep. I guess we just sack the token. If our opponent wants to sack, that's... Oh yeah, never mind. Yeah. Sack the blood. Opponent untaps. Volt Surge the Kaido. Okay. So opponent uses a Spell Pierce. They get to keep their Kaido alive to draw a card, but I think we're still in a pretty good spot here, barring our opponent having a sweeper. So opponent gets in. They spent the Spell Pierce to most likely draw a single card with Kaido. We'll see if that's worth it. We'll see if it's worth it. Opponent gets to draw with Kaido. They need some removal. They need a lot of removal. Plays a land. Passes. Okay. Well, play a land. Copy Blood Tithe Harvester. I guess Wandering Emperor would be somewhat good for our opponent. Going to bounce Blood Tithe Harvester. Kill Kaido. Hit our opponent. Get a treasure. Replay Blood Tithe Harvester. End step. Sack of blood. Drain ya. Draw. You know, Volt Surge is good. I mean, the synergy with Braid is so good. All we need is the Karn for the full payoff. This has gone much better than game one. Found it. Plaza Harmony. Technuma. Oh, mills 3 lands. Well, opponent's probably thankful they're not drawing those. What are they getting back? Kaido is not as good as it looks because we get to Volt Surge it. 8 aligns a body, but we get to Volt Surge it. Like, I think our opponent's I think they're just in trouble. Opponent gets back Thalia. Okay, I don't think that really changes things. Passes. Well, we untap. Reflections. Copy Blood Tithe Harvester. Sack it. Kill the Thalia. Make some tokens. Volt Surge that ninja, and that was a good Braids win. Braids is actually a pretty powerful card. If you build around it and put the effort in, it's a really powerful card. And Karn is actually a really good support card for Braids. I think we cracked it. I think, honestly, this is as close as you can get to building a good Karn deck in Standard right now. Maybe things change in the future, but just having a Power Stone to sack to Braids every turn to drain and draw for 2, and some other extra synergies like the Dragon Spark Reactor and so forth, just that, I think, is enough to kind of make Karn sort of work. All right, opponent's on the play. Can we avoid getting locked out by the Thalia? I mean, we got to keep this. Hopefully we hit our lands, but this is the kind of hand we got to keep. Zatora's Proving Ground. I mean, double Meat Hook Massacre, can Volt Surge a Thalia, Fable the Mirror Breaker for whatever we need. Well, play Beseju. Pass the turn. Opponent, land, and Thalia. All right, Volt Surge Thalia. Play the land, Fable the Mirror Breaker. Well, there's the Karn to go with the Braids. The synergies are getting there. Adeline. Yeah, I don't think we actually discard anything here, as weird as that is. We're gonna decline. We're gonna play the land. We're gonna go to combat, attack. Get a treasure. Opponent blocks. We're gonna play Braids. And sack the Fable of the Mirror Breaker to drain and draw. All right, card number 2. All right, runs out the Sadistic Pilgrim. I don't think I can do John Wayne. I don't even know, why is John Wayne even famous? I don't get it. Opponent leaving up 2 mana. So he could have Spell Pierce. Well, play the land, play the Karn. Oh, they have like hard negate, okay. I'll pass the turn. Sack Beseju. You gonna sack a land? Are you actually gonna sack a land here? Wow, they actually sack a land, okay. Opponent, land. Attacks, makes a token. Well, we'll kill the token. Get drained. Attacking the land might have been greedy. We'll see. Well, Oni called Anvil. Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Make a token. Urtai, okay. Well, we get to draw a card, which isn't bad. And we get to make a token for the Anvil. Oh, they're gonna blow up Braids. Interesting. Okay, that's not what I was expecting, but that does work. Play the tap land. Yeah, I guess we just pass. Well, the question's gonna be, can we resolve the Meat Hook Massacre and sweep the board? If so, we're gonna be in good shape. Raven Man. Triggers. Oh my god. Okay, we're gonna be able to do it. It's happening. It is happening. Opponent goes to combat. Swings. Makes a token. Well, we will block the token. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, block and block. Drop to 13. Get drained. Opponent gets a decay zombie. Gains a life. Well, we untap. We draw a reactor. Discard reactor. Discard meat hook. Get in with the goblin. Make a treasure. Opponent blocks. And then we're gonna lose everything anyway, right? There's no way we can keep a token. Yeah, so we might as well sack this to gain a life. Actually, we're gonna gain the life off Meat Hook Massacre. All right, yep. Meat Hook Massacre X4, we get a token. Sweep the board. Lots of triggers. All right, but opponent has one card in hand. They have one card in hand. That is it. We're gonna flip a Saga. We got a Karn in hand. We got Oni called Anvil. Opponent land. One card. What is it? What is it? Ayo. Ayo's a good one. Ayo is a good one. Well, flip the Saga. Flying Vigilance. Oh, the problem is if we play the Karn, it just dies, which is very awkward. If we Meat Hook Massacre, who knows what our opponent will hit, which is also awkward. But I think that's our best bet. I think we'd rather try to deal with whatever's left over here rather than the AO. All right, what does our opponent find? Wow, what a close game this has been. Opponent gets to go digging. If this isn't too devastating, then Karn plus Anvil next turn should stabilize. The problem with AO is flying. Like, we play the Karn, we take it up, and it just snipes the Karn, which is not good. We're at 13, so and we're gonna gain a little bit of life, so we're not super close to dying. It's Karn time. Ratadropic. All right, Ratadropic is good, but our opponent doesn't have any other legends at the moment. What a top deck. What a top deck for our opponent. Kayatosi off the top takes Volt Surge, steals all of our Volt Surges. And they can cast one of them, right? Okay, opponent gets and hits us. Down to 11, we untap. Just a land. So, Oni called Anvil. Karn. Take up the Karn, make a Power Stone. Sack the Power Stone, make some tokens. Wow, that Katosi was such an amazing draw for our opponent. Opponent untaps. Ah, what a close game this has been. What a close game. Yeah, we were really hoping for not our opponent's biggest and best thing to come off the top that turn. Opponent goes to combat. Attacks. Well, we want to keep Karn, so we will block and sack to drain you. Passes. Ooh, Blood Tithe Harvester is not bad. Blood Tithe Harvester. Make a blood token. Opponent's gonna spend their Volt Surge. Okay. So we get the blood token. Sack the blood token. Discard the land. Make some tokens. Oh, Inferno Grasp. Inferno Grasp. Not good until next turn, but very good in the long run. I'll take up Karn for a Power Stone, I think. What's our best way to keep Karn alive? Can we take down? If we take down... Yeah, let's take down and pay 1. Let's draw a card. Get a Swamp. Play the swamp. Pass the turn. Wow! Spectral Adversary! Okay. Can't pay for it, thankfully. Opponent untaps. Jadar. The hits just keep coming. All right, opponent never whiffs. Never whiffs. Gets into the Karn. Gets into the Karn. Well, we will block, and we will block, and we will sack, and we will sack, and we will ping, and we will drain. Karn drops to 2. Opponent gets a decay zombie. We untap. All right, Braids isn't bad. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. All right, so take up Karn, make a Power Stone. Play Braids. Stop on our opponent's upkeep. Pass the turn. Sack the Power Stone. Draw a land. On our opponent's upkeep, Infernal Grasp, Rada Drobic, and pay the 2. Okay. Oh, opponent untaps. Does this mean we get to keep our Karn for another turn? Please draw land for once. All right, there's the land. Opponent goes to combat. I think this means Karn lives. Opponent. Big attack. Sure. So we block here, sack the token to drain you. Karn and Braids doing their thing. Yeah. About it. Sure. Decays. Gets back the zombie. Passes. Well, take up Karn, make a Power Stone. Pass the turn. Yeah, I guess we attack here. Hit you with the Braids. End of turn. Sack the Power Stone. Drain ya. This is game, right? This is a game? End step game? Braids and Karn taking down the legends. That was a Karn game. That was Karn with the help of Braids, but that was Karn winning us a game. The Power Stones it made, you can't use them for like real things, but if you can sack them to Braids and you can sack them to Oni Call Anvil, Karn was like legit good. You could see our opponent had this huge board, top deck the Kadozi, everything at Karn every single turn. They had to get it off the battlefield. They couldn't get it off the battlefield. So I guess I have to take back some of my complaints about Karn. I still don't think Karn is a very good planeswalker overall, but I think this deck has shown that in the right shell, with the right supports like Braids, it actually can be a pretty effective threat. Like it's very narrow. Let's go with that. You gotta be in a very specific archetype, but in that archetype, Karn's actually great. Well, sweet. So what do we learn this week about Karn and Braids in Standard? And I gotta say, I think I was a little bit wrong about Karn. I wasn't all the way wrong. I still think that in most decks, Karn is really, really bad. One of the worst planeswalkers ever printed because it is pretty useless. Like most of what it does isn't very good. However, in the right deck, and I think this is the right deck, Karn is actually pretty powerful. In this deck, just using Karn to make a Power Stone each turn, even though that Power Stone essentially has no text on it, like it doesn't do anything other than be an artifact on the battlefield, that was enough to make it good with Braids and Dragon Spark Reactor and Oni Call Anvil. And then Braids was absolutely absurd, especially because we had Karn to have the Power Stones to sack every turn to drain our opponent and draw more cards and churn through our deck. So the end result is we ended up going 5-3 with the deck overall, which is a pretty good record considering what we're built around, which is, you know, the worst planeswalker of all time, and Braids, which, you know, hasn't really seen any play in Standard. So I'm really happy with how this deck turned out, and I think maybe these cards are actually a little bit better than people gave them credit for. I still think that if you just slam Karn in a random deck, it's going to be absolutely horrible. Horrible. And the same is mostly true of Braids. Like, Braids is another card that you need a lot of support to make it work. You need those useless things to sacrifice, but when you put them both together, all of a sudden both cards become pretty powerful because Karn's really good at making useless things, and then Braid is really good at turning useless things into value. So you add them together and it's like almost a combo, and we got to do pretty much everything we wanted to do with this deck. We even got the Bootlegger Stash Karn Ultimate kill, which is ridiculous. We got to draw tons of cards. We saw Dragon Spark Reactor go off and steal wins on our end step as we're sacking stuff to Braids. So I actually kind of love this deck, and it felt surprisingly good. So anyway, that's Karn and Braids. That's been our Against Odds for this week. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you soon. Want even more Against the Odds action? Well, make sure to check out last week's episode where we found out how many Planeswalkers Joda can cascade into in Dominaria United Standard.